software testers, they're not just about catching bugs at the end anymore.
Right.
In this deep dive, we're going to explore how, in the Agile world, testers have become like collaborators, working with developers from the very start to build in quality.
It's a total transformation.
Yeah, it really is. It's like they've gone from gatekeepers to like partners in the whole process.
Exactly. And it's all because of this Agile thing.
Right. So maybe for those who aren't super familiar with Agile, can you just give us like a quick rundown of what makes it so different and why it needs this whole new approach to testing?
Agile, it's all about change, embracing change and delivering value super fast. Instead of these huge drawn-out projects, you break things down into these little chunks, sprints.
Yeah, I've heard of sprints.
You work on features and testing. It's built right into every single step.
So you're not waiting till the very end to see if the whole thing blows up.
Exactly. Continuous testing all the way through.
Makes sense. So how does this actually change what a tester does? Like, what do they do differently in an Agile team?
Well, imagine you're in a sprint planning meeting. You're not just like sitting there getting handed requirements. You're part of the conversation.
Oh, interesting.
You're asking questions like, how can we make this easier to test? What are the weird edge cases we need to think about?
So they're thinking about quality right from the start.
Yeah. You're preventing problems before they even happen.
I like that. Proactive.
And then, as the developers are coding, you're right there with them, reviewing stuff, maybe even writing unit tests together.
Wow. So it's really hands-on, not just waiting for a finished product.
No way. It's a team effort all the way.
Sounds like you need a lot of skills to be an Agile tester, though.
You definitely do. They wear a lot of hats, actually.
Oh. Tell me more about that.
Well, first off, they're quality advocates. Like in every meeting, every decision, they're making sure quality is front and center.
The quality police.
Well, not police, but definitely making sure everyone's thinking about it. And they're collaborators, too. They work with developers, product owners, everyone, to make sure they're all on the same page about what the software is supposed to do.
So good communication skills are a must.
Oh, yeah. Big time. And then there's this whole exploratory testing thing.
What's that?
That's where you go beyond the scripted tests. You know, you think outside the box, try to find those sneaky bugs that automated tests might miss.
So you need to be creative?
Definitely. But they also need to be automation specialists themselves, building those automated tests to speed things up.
What kind of tools do they use for that?
Oh, there's a bunch. Selenium, Cypress, those are popular for web apps, rest assured for APIs.
So a whole tech toolkit.
Right. But it's not just about tools. Agile testers are also like customer advocates.
Okay, how so?
They have to put themselves in the user's shoes, make sure the software is actually enjoyable to use, easy to understand.
Because you can build a perfect piece of software, but if it's a nightmare to use, nobody's going to want it.
Exactly. And lastly, they're risk managers too.
Oh.
They're spotting potential problems early on, helping the team find solutions.
So they're like the problem solvers.
Yeah. They keep things running smoothly.
Quality advocate, collaborator, exploratory tester, automation specialist, customer advocate, risk manager.
That's a lot of hats.
It is. So with all those roles, what are some things Agile testers actually do on a daily basis?
Well, they're in all those Agile meetings.
Yeah.
Sprint planning, stand-ups, reviews, retrospectives.
So they got to be present, involved.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing is working with the product owner to define acceptance criteria.
Acceptance criteria?
That's like, what does done actually mean for each feature?
So everybody's on the same page.
Exactly. It helps avoid misunderstandings later. Then there's creating test plans.
But not those huge, clunky ones.
No.
Ah,
Lean and focused on the sprint goals. No time for a ton of documentation in Agile.
got it. So what else?
Testing throughout development, not just at the end. Working with developers, giving feedback as things are built.
So that continuous feedback loop.
Right. And they're building automation scripts for those repetitive tests.
Saving time for the more interesting stuff.
Exactly. Working smarter, not harder.
All right, so we've got a good picture of what they do, but what skills are essential for an Agile tester?
Well, obviously knowing how to use those automation tools is huge. And being comfortable with CI/CD tools like Jenkins or GitLab.
So those are the must-haves. But you mentioned soft skills earlier, too.
Oh, yeah, those are just as important. Communication is number one. You got to be able to explain complex things clearly to everyone, advocate for quality without stepping on toes.
So being a good communicator is key.
Absolutely. And collaboration, too. You got to be a team player, willing to work closely with everyone.
No more silos.
Exactly. And critical thinking is huge. You got to analyze requirements, spot risks, design good tests.
So thinking ahead, being proactive.
Yep. And adaptability is essential too. Agile is all about change, so you got to be comfortable with things shifting around.
Always learning, always growing.
Exactly. The software world never stands still.
Okay, so we've got the roles, the tasks, the skills. Now, what are some best practices? How do you thrive as an agile tester?
Start testing early. Right from the sprint planning.
So no more testing as an afterthought.
Right. And collaborate closely with developers. The more you understand how things are built, the better you can test them.
It's about building relationships, trust.
Absolutely. And automate. But don't forget exploratory testing too. You need both.
The best of both worlds.
Right. And keep documentation light and to the point.
No novels.
Exactly. And never stop learning.
The learning never ends, does it?
Nope. And be a quality champion. Encourage the whole team to care about quality.
Spread the quality love.
Exactly.
Wow, this has been incredibly helpful. Agile testing is a whole new world.
It is.
But it sounds like there must be some challenges too, right?
Oh, definitely. Agile's got its own set of hurdles.
Well, let's take a moment to digest all of this and then come back to explore those challenges.
Sound good?
And how Agile testers can overcome them.
I'm ready when you are.
We've talked a lot about how Agile changes things for testers, but the software itself is changing too, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's not just desktop apps anymore.
Right. It's all cloud, mobile, the Internet of Things, even AI now.
Yep. Whole new world for testers to figure out.
So what kind of challenges does that create?
Well, think about testing in the cloud. It's not just one piece of software sitting on a computer somewhere.
Right.
It's this system that can grow and shrink, spread across servers, people accessing it from everywhere.
So how do you even test something like that?
You got to think differently. Like performance testing? Can it handle 1 million users at once?
Oh.
And security. How do you protect data that's constantly moving?
It's like testers need to become cloud experts themselves.
Pretty much. And then there's mobile apps, each one with its own operating system, screen size, all that.
How can you make sure an app works on every phone out there?
It's tough. You can't test on every device, but you can pick a good sample, use emulators, and these cloud-based testing platforms that give you access to tons of devices.
So you got to be smart about it.
Yep. Then there's the Internet of Things. Software and everything now. Cars, refrigerators, you name it.
It's kind of scary, actually.
It is. And testing for that is all about how those devices talk to each other, how they work together.
That sounds super complex.
It is. One big challenge is just the sheer number of things to test. You have to focus on the most important stuff.
So prioritizing.
Right. And security is huge. All these devices collecting data and then making sure they can all talk to each other, different brands and everything.
Interoperability, right.
Yep. You got to be part detective, part diplomat to test IoT stuff.
And then there's AI, software that's actually learning.
Yeah, that throws a whole new wrench in things.
How do you test something that's always changing?
Honestly, we're still figuring that out. One way is to train AI systems on tons of data, see how they handle different situations.
So it's about making sure they're robust, right?
Right. And also checking for bias.
Wait, bias? How can software be biased?
Well, if the data it learns from is biased, the AI can become biased too.
Oh, I see.
Like if a facial recognition system only learns from pictures of white people, it might not work as well for other races.
That's a scary thought.
It is. That's why testing for bias is so important.
It's not just technical anymore, it's ethical too.
Exactly. You have to think about the impact on society.
Big responsibility.
It is. But it's also exciting to be part of this new world.
You mentioned shift left testing earlier. What's that all about?
Shift left is all about testing earlier. Like from the very beginning when you're figuring out what the software should even do.
Makes sense. Find problems early, they're easier to fix.
Exactly. It usually means testers and developers working super closely.
There's that collaboration again.
Yep. It's all connected.
So AI is a challenge, but can AI also help testers?
Definitely. AI can automate boring stuff, analyze results, even create test cases.
So it's like a super-powered testing buddy.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And it's only going to get more powerful.
We've also talked about DevOps and continuous delivery. How do those fit in?
Well, in DevOps, testing has to be part of the whole delivery process. Automated, fast, reliable tests.
Always running.
Yep. And testers need to work closely with developers and operations folks.
So breaking down those silos again?
Exactly. It's all about working together seamlessly.
Wow, this is a lot to take in. Software testing is really changing fast.
It is. It's a challenge, but also a huge opportunity.
For those who are ready to embrace it.
Exactly. The future of testing is bright.
I'm feeling inspired. We've covered so much ground today. Maybe it's time for a quick break, then we can come back and recap all the key points about Agile testing. We covered a ton about Agile testing, from how the role's changing to all those challenges of testing in the cloud, mobile, even AI.
It's been a whirlwind.
It has. So before we wrap up, what are like the big takeaways about Agile testing?
Well, first off, it's all about collaboration. Breaking down those walls between developers and testers.
No more us versus them.
Exactly.
Okay.
Everyone working together from the start to build in quality.
And that means testers need a whole new set of skills, right?
Oh, yeah. The tech stuff's still important, of course. Automation, testing methodologies, all that.
To have those tools.
But in Agile, those soft skills, just as important.
Like what?
Communication, collaboration, critical thinking, being able to solve problems and adapt quickly.
So it's not just about finding bugs anymore. It's about being like a well-rounded team member.
Absolutely. And don't forget, advocating for the user too, making sure the software isn't just functional, but it's actually good.
Makes sense. Nobody wants to use something frustrating.
Exactly. And as software gets more complex, that user focus is only going to get more important.
We talked about some pretty big trends too. Shift left testing, AI, DevOps. It feels like testing is going through a revolution.
It is. And that means challenges, but also tons of opportunity for testers.
For those who are ready to like level up their skills.
Exactly. So for someone just starting out in testing, what would you tell them?
That's a good one. What would you tell them?
I'd say embrace the challenge. This field is always changing, always something new to learn.
So never stop learning.
Never. And remember, testing is crucial. You have a real impact on the software everyone uses every day.
That's a good point. It's not just some behind-the-scenes thing.
Nope. You're making a difference.
This has been a great deep dive into Agile testing. We just scratched the surface, though.
Oh, definitely. But we've laid some good groundwork.
We have. So, as we wrap up, is there one question you want to leave our listeners with? Something to think about.
Okay, here's one. As software becomes, more and more a part of everything, healthcare, transportation, everything, how can testers make sure it's not just working right, but it's also ethical, responsible, actually good for society?
That's a big one.
It is, but it's something we all need to be thinking about.
Absolutely. It's not just about the tech anymore.
Nope, it's about the bigger picture.
Well, on that note, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Agile testing. It's been a fascinating journey, and we hope you've learned a ton. Until next time, keep testing, keep learning, and keep pushing for better software.